You've all seen me model them. You've all heard me talk about them. Now we're talking to the founder of Imbrace, all about the Imbrace Snow Sports Leggings here on the Ski Rex Media Podcast. How we doing, everybody? Tim from the Ski Rex Media Podcast here, welcoming you to another brand new episode with a brand new guest and a brand new friend of the Ski Rex Media Podcast and Ski Rex Media. How you doing, everybody? I hope you are ready for this new episode. And even if you're not ready, I'm going to continue with the episode anyway. The Ski Rex Media Podcast is brought to you in part by Whaleback Mountain. That's right, Whaleback Mountain, my home mountain over here in Enfield, New Hampshire. Now, I'm not in Enfield, New Hampshire, but I'm very, very close to Enfield, New Hampshire. I'm 15 minutes away from the mountain on a good day, a half hour or more when there's ice and snow flying around. But I do have my studded snow tires back on the car, so maybe I can cut those times down a little bit, but in any case, it's close enough to be my home mountain. Whaleback Mountain is awesome. I love it. I can't say enough good things about it. The people over the last few days, I'm a lifty there now, don't forget. I do some lifty work 2 nights a week, and people have been smiling. People have been happy. People have been just itching to get out, and this is where they're getting the goods, and they're really loving it. Whaleback Mountain has everything you could want. They can rent you the gear to do it. They can teach you how to use it. It's awesome. If you have an uphill New England pass, you can go there. If you have an Indy pass, you have 2 days waiting for you there. If you have a Whaleback pass, then you already know what to do, and I don't have to tell you. But Whaleback is awesome. I love it. I think you should check it out. Very easy to get to. It's on I-89, exit 16 in Enfield, New Hampshire, and I'm talking it's right on the exit. As a lifty, sometimes I find myself looking at the traffic on the highway to see how well it's moving on the interstate, so I know how bad the roads are when I leave for the night and go home, be it rain or snow or sleet or ice or whatever it may be. But weather aside, you can come on out to Whaleback Mountain and enjoy it. I think you will. I love it. I ski there as often as I can. Whaleback Mountain, ski it to believe it. A couple things real quick before we get into the interview. Please subscribe to the Ski Rex Media Podcast on Podbean or your favorite podcasting app or YouTube, or you can go to Patreon and subscribe for $1 a month. You get some behind the scenes outtakes and things like this. You get an ad-free experience and you get it early. The show comes out on Wednesday with ads. On Patreon, it comes out Sunday without ads. You can also follow Ski Rex Media on social media. That is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, whatever it's actually called now, and LinkedIn, even if you want to. You can follow me there, and you can visit the Ski Rex Media website at skirexmedia.com. There you can sign up for the newsletter, leave Ski Rex Media a voicemail, find out all the other contact information, and get links to the Ski Rex Media merch shop, which has its first new offering. An awesome logo beanie, comes in 4 colors, has the high-vis Ski Rex Media skiing T-Rex. It's awesome. I love it. Already sold a few. Well, a couple. One is either 2 or 3, but they are selling. So please check that out at skirexmedia.com as well. Sign up for the newsletter. Like I said, that also has a bunch of information and a couple different things that don't go out anywhere else. Right. Lastly, before I get into the episode's interview, we are not doing the call-in this week. We're not doing the voicemail or the email a response this week. That new segment, we're not doing that this week. Why? Well, because me and Geoff, the founder of Imbrace, we went a little long on the interview. I'm trying to keep my episodes under an hour, and the interview went to just over an hour. So to use all of it, I have to cut out that segment, but that's okay because I need more stuff. I need more voicemails. I need more emails, and that's where you come in. Send Ski Rex Media an email. Send me a voicemail. Links in the description, plus all the places I just told you about. And you can send in a question, a query, a criticism, a shout out, something goofy, something silly. Just tell us a quick story. Tell us about your favorite mountain, your favorite gear, whatever it is. Just send it into Ski Rex Media and I'll address it right here on the podcast. No names necessary, but if you want your shout out, definitely leave your name. So you've all heard, by the time you've seen it, well, I have been talking about my Imbrace leggings, how much I love riding in them. I've used them few times skiing. I'm not getting out there as much as I would like. I'm letting Ski Rex Media get in the way, which is really stupid. Ski Media, I'm not skiing as much as I should. That's a whole other complaint. That's a whole other whine thing. Although the whining, I hope, was appreciated when I was at Stowe. I try to do self-deprecating whining humor. I don't know if it worked. I chuckled while I was doing it, but what it doesn't matter. In any case, we're here to talk about the Imbrace Snow Sports Leggings, which I love. They're awesome, and I'm here to talk about them with a person who knows far more about them than I do, or can at least explain it to you better. Very smart man, Mr. Geoff Hanson. How are you, sir?
I'm very well. Hi, Tim. Nice to be here.
Excellent, excellent. Yes, Geoff, another friend, a new friend from the UK, along with Kim, who also has a pair. I saw Kimberly K. She has a pair, which is awesome. And then we have our other UK friends. Nice, good size audience over there starting to get that out. So shout out to everybody over there. Love that. Few hours ahead in the future there, but that's okay. Mr. Geoff, we're going to start the same way I always do. Let's ask you who you are and what you do.
Okay, well, I'm Geoff Hanson. I'm founder of Imbrace, which is basically a leggings company, which all came about because I have really rickety knees
There you
and
go.
figured that I needed to try and come up with a way to be able to keep exercising pain free without taking ibuprofen and paracetamol all the time, because that's what I was doing. So um, I used to be, I mean, I trained as a three-dimensional designer many years ago, more
Sure.
years ago than I would actually care to put out there in the public domain. Um,
Like it, like it.
but interestingly enough, what that meant was that I've always enjoyed problem solving. I've always enjoyed looking at things and going, okay, well, is there an angle on this, or can I work around the problem? So for many years, I practiced as a designer, and then more recently, when I say more recently, sort of 18, 19 years ago, kind of morphed into doing some property work. So we did a lot of renovations and some new builds. Did that for 18 years. And strangely enough, and I know this sounds like a cliche, I woke up one Monday morning and I went, this isn't for me anymore.
Okay,
Um,
man.
I've always been one of these people that, hey, Monday morning, I bounce out of bed and I was excited about what the week might bring, and I just didn't feel it anymore. So I kind of was casting my mind out there and looking at things and thinking, well, what else is there? And
Sure.
I was going to the gym on a regular basis at that point, because I was working particularly on my right knee, which I had some tendon issues with. And so I was wearing a well-known brand of leggings with knee braces. And
Sure.
every time I was doing squats, the knee braces were slipping, and it was just one of those crazy light bulb moments in your life. I just kind of went, hey, I wonder if somebody could have maybe incorporated all this together and put knee braces in the leggings.
Sure.
So that's how this crazy thing called Imbrace started. I mean, all my friends said, geez, Geoff, you're far too old to be starting something completely new in your life. But hey, if it gets you up in the morning and gives you the enthusiasm to get out there and do things, does age matter? I think it's just a number. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So I started on this crazy idea. We have an expression here in the UK. We call it. I know the word has different connotations, in the States, but we call it a fag pack sketch. So a fag over here is a cigarette. So it
Yes.
means that you take the cardboard from a cigarette pack and you make a sketch, and it's so I started out with some really basic sketches, went online and spent a lot of time looking at, okay, I like that I don't know, that waist star, or I like this, or I like that color, I like that stitching, and pulled together these storyboards and then started conversations with people.
Sure.
And over a period of time, I had some really great introductions that helped me to kind of move things to the next stage. And a lot of this happened during COVID, so had to happen on phone calls. Or,
Yeah.
I mean, a friend of mine, we were able to have dog walks, but we were 10 feet apart walking the dog. But just worked through it all. Introductions led to other introductions, and finally, we got the product into a factory. We use a company based in Korea, which have been fantastic, really, really good with technical product. They've got their factories in China, and we started producing prototypes.
Sure.
And they were, I have to say, seriously indulgent. They helped out an awful lot with prototypes. I kept coming back and going, oh, well, that's a great idea. That worked. Hey, what about adding this? Or could we try that? And then we ended up with a product which we launched in October 2022 at the ski show at Birmingham here in the UK. And it's gone from there.
And that's it, man. The rest is history, as they say.
Kind of, yeah. We're a year on from there. We've had some amazing things happen. Very, very shortly after launching the first product, which we called Imbrace Dynamic, because, hey, it's about movement. It's about getting you out there. It's about looking after your knees, your hips, your back, trying to reduce discomfort and pain, because we've all got some there. And just keeping you in the game, keeping you exercising. But anyway, we were really, really lucky. We've got a great we've got a really good ski community here in the UK. Even though we've got relatively small ski area up in Scotland in the Cairngorms, Europe is just on our doorstep. Even though we're not in the EU anymore, so it's you got to show your passport now. But that's about as bad as it gets. So we've got the Alps, we've got the Dolomites, you've got the Pyrenees. There's a lot there. So so we've got a sizable ski community, which is fantastic, and we've got a sizable ski industry. And whether that's people producing product, or it's big. So anyway, we were very, very lucky. Very early on, we were found by a 4-time Olympian skier called Shemi Alcott, who has kind of lived the recovery. Having damaged herself at the height of her career with an enormous accident. Note to self: don't compare scars with Shemi, because she really busted herself up and went through that long process with, I might add, the focus of a professional athlete, which not all of us are blessed with. That positivity, that drive to get back to doing what she loved. And the result was that, she found the product and really liked it. And very shortly after kind of coming on board as our first ambassador, she contacted me and said, hey, we need to do lunch. I've got something really important I want to talk to you about. And that was, we need to do a ski legging. And I've got some ideas I'd really like to talk to you about. And I just kind of, gave Shemi the floor and said, right, you tell me, because
perfect.
I ski, but boy, do I ski badly. I'm very much, I'm a recreational skier. My day is about, getting, I very likely will get to the first lift of the day, but hey, around 10 or 10:30 in the morning, it's time for a hot chocolate and, some sustenance. And then lunchtime is always important, but, so we very much sat down and worked as a collaboration with Shemi to produce the what is now Imbrace Snow. And it's been a big success. We've been absolutely amazed by how quickly it's gained traction and gained a following. Really exciting.
I can only imagine, when you have someone who skis at the professional level, uh, or who did. I don't think she skis professional anymore. It's hard to keep up with
No.
all these. That's the thing. You watch professional basketball, it's LeBron and 5 other people. You watch professional skiing, and there's 80 names a day.
Yeah.
It's impossible to keep up. I don't even know them when I talk to them. I don't even know them. But that's not the point. The point is to have someone come out and say, "Hey, this is awesome. Let's do it for snow sports." And I have ideas. That's great. That's what you want. Like people coming to you. Like you don't have to go search out professionals. They come to you. If you go to the website, you can see her banging around in them. Very awesome. Very great. Also want to loop back around at the Birmingham Snow Show. Shout out to our friends at Raccoon Media who put on those shows over there in Birmingham and London, and come here and do Snowbound in Boston. A lot of fun. Steve Morgan and his group. Very great. A lot of fun
They're
over
good
there.
people, aren't they? Great to work with.
Oh, a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I actually asked Steve while we were down there, I was like, what's it like for you and your team to have to fly 6 hours for a weekend work commute? Like, what is that? Like, is that weird? And he's like, yeah, it's a little weird. But a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun. And they have a lot of fun. These shows are not just for going to see cool new products, but they're a lot of fun. So let's continue on. I shouldn't say start because we've been started, but let's continue on. Like you said, it was an idea born of personal necessity in a way. Your knees are banged up, they're shot out. I have the same problem. I wouldn't be surprised if the microphone picks up, if you hear these pops in the background, that's my knees.
Fix. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the knees, man. They are shot. And you're 100% right. The best I've found before this, using a brace is never works. Wrapping isn't that great. Taping is nice.
Taping
Unless
works,
you're a
doesn't it? Yeah.
taping's nice unless you're a big sweater. If you sweat a lot, then it kind of comes off. You've kind of balanced that. So let's start there now. How does it, I know this is going to sound like a simple question, but how does it work? Because I wear them and I can feel it. I know how a knee brace works, but let's get into the technical aspect of it, how you built it into the leggings and how it actually does work or should work.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's a good question, really. And yeah, I think I mean the product is a technical product. But essentially we use a pair of stretchy leggings. I mean, some people would call them compression. Yeah, sure, they compress.
Mm-hmm.
But it is basically a pair of stretchy leggings, which we then uh, combine targeted panels within those leggings. So you've got a base legging, and then we actually put panels on there, which is so essentially those panels are made up of they're layered. It's kind of cool. There's some engineering involved, and what's fascinating for me is I've gone from building buildings
Sure.
to suddenly one day going, you know what, I'm going to go out and make leggings, and they're going to be really cool, and they're going to have all this stuff in them. So suddenly I go, well, how am I going to do this? And the great thing is that we're so lucky to have the resource of the internet, because you can go online and you can type in some crazy things. Well, how does fabric engineering work? How do you adhere fabric and
Sure.
how do you layer fabrics? And it's all there.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily, I'm probably dangerous. I know a little bit, but not a lot. And I've got, but we have people now that take my crazy ideas and go, okay, Geoff, we're going to make this work for you. And a big shout out to Julie Greengrass, my designer. She's been amazing. She takes my crazy sketches, comes back with workable ideas, which we can then send to the factory. But essentially, yeah, we've got a basic legging which we adhere panels to, and they are focused on the hips, the ITB band, which runs down the outside of your leg, the outside of your thigh, and ends at the top of the knee. And then we've got this knee brace. Now, it seems real simple, but the knee brace in the snow legging is actually it looks real simple, but it's pretty complex. I mean, in a crazy
Okay.
sort of way. I mean, it took us 9 goes to get it to work properly, to give adequate compression and adequate support, which is, I think it's fair to say, it's probably mid-level. I mean,
Okay.
if you really have, if your knees are really banged up, that you can put another knee brace over these leggings. And the nice thing is the leggings are super comfortable next to your skin, rather than
Hmm.
having that slippage and that chafing that a bigger brace tends to cause.
Totally.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and then the ski leggings. I mean, anybody that looks online will see they're kind of interesting. They're unique in that where they have a very high waist, and that waist is there's a lot going on there. For a start, you'll see it on both genders, male and female. That waist is well above your belly button.
Hmm.
Um, and the idea with that is that you've got this high waist, which is quite structured. You've got a panel that runs down the back, which covers the base of your spine, and then that's coupled with a panel that then runs across the base of the pelvis at the back, and
Hmm.
then
Yep.
joins with the panels that look after the hips. So that whole area, that's all about sort of providing some thoracic and spinal stability, but more importantly, probably is it helps with your alignment in that area.
Sure.
Um, and then within the actual waistband, we've actually got heat pad pockets. So when you get up in the morning and you're
Yeah.
feeling a little stiff and it's cold, you just what I suggest is just grab some hotties, give them a little scrunch, pop them in the pockets, and within a few minutes you've got this really nice heat in your back. And we've also put one. I mean, Shemi was big on this. She said, look, um, you know, it would be really nice to put one over your abdomen for ladies because as she said, hey, when I skied, particularly when I was younger, she said I really suffered period pain and it was
Yeah.
uncomfortable, and heat helps. So, that I think is a nice little thing to have added. But and then you've got this carrier that runs up the back that then holds these what we call the core boost straps. Now the
Hmm.
idea is you put this legging on, you get it comfortable, you get it set where you want it, and then you pull the core boost straps and tighten them up and it's all about getting your transverse abs engaged.
Hmm.
Because if you can get your core engaged, you're going to be a better skier. There's no doubt about it. And
100%.
I had a really fascinating conversation early on with Shemi because, hey, this was all starting to go way outside my sort of realms of knowledge, which probably most people would say are pretty narrow anyway. But um, but interesting enough, Shemi said, I can sit at the bottom of a hill and I can look up and I can look at male and female skiers coming down, and I can say that individual is struggling with a core. There's that individual struggling with a core. And she said, if you look at the population, you look at who we are. She said most guys over a certain age, I can say, hey, could you do 20 sit-ups? And most of us would go, well, yeah, if somebody sits on my feet, I might be able to get 20
Yep.
sit-ups. But
Yep.
because we all sit at a desk most of the time, or we're in the car all day long, we lose that muscle tone in our core. And of course, for women, it's very similar situation. But hey, they've got the added scenario of childbirth, and
Hmm.
as much as we love kids, they knock us around a little bit, especially if you're a lady. It's really tough on your core.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
so the idea of this high waist and the adjustment and everything is to help you and get that core engaged and get back to helping your body to be a better skier. So it's about alignment, it's about confidence, it's about comfort. That that you don't have that tight, tweaky, sore back, and then and then everything else kind of follows on from that waist. It's just looking after your hips, your IT band. I mean, having the Emmy uses an expression switching on your IT band. Well, I have no idea, you know, how that is. Whether that's a physiological thing, but she's adamant that by warming the IT band, that it helps with alignment, and she's really keen to avoid for people to avoid that horrible A frame that you get that
Yeah.
when so it's all about
Totally. Yeah.
getting your knees out over the tips of your boots, so that
Yes.
you get a really really good alignment. And
Sure.
then yeah, and so it's all kind of, the whole thing's kind of gelled, the whole thing's captured people's imagination. We get amazing feedback about. I mean, we had a fella that funny enough, a snowboarder who suffered from I think he called it a bursa behind his left knee, and they looked at it and decided that I mean, he had it diagnosed many years ago, and apparently they looked at it and decided that they weren't going to do anything because the cure could be worse than just living with it.
Sure.
And he was telling me that he would reach the end of his he'd go on his holiday, his snowboarding holiday, which was his big deal every year, and by Wednesday he would have to take a day off because he was just tired, exhausted, and more importantly, the knee would blow up.
Sure.
The swelling would get uncomfortable. But
Yeah.
the first week he wore them, and funny enough, he's actually been to the States this year and worn them for 2 weeks. But he said the
Excellent.
first week, he said, I got on the first lift on Monday morning, and I got on the last lift on Friday. And I did every single day for 2 weeks.
Awesome.
So they work, and that kind of feedback, feels good.
I can only imagine. I can attest to that in many ways. Like I don't have that big of that kind of issue. I should say, but the difference is amazing. Now I've skied with a wrap knee, a tape knee, a brace knee. I've done it all. But to have it built in to what you're wearing, it feels, I can't say different, but for me personally, it definitely feels better. It feels like it's almost part of myself. Like it's built on there. I could feel it. I can see it. I've already been complimented after a day of skiing. Like, wow, you're walking better than you did yesterday, doing the same thing. It's a wonderful, wonderful feeling. And you're not wrong. Having it all as one piece too. Like you got your knees, you got your hip, you're up into the back. The heat on the back is a wonderful thing. I would even suggest don't even bother. Definitely use it for therapeutic needs, but man, just throw them in there anyway. Throw a couple heat packs in there
Well,
anyway.
I know, because it's just nice, isn't it?
It really is. I won't lie to you. I broke the heated seat in my car. I'd like to say I'm hoity-toity and I have heated seats, and I do have one, but it's not the driver's seat. So
Yeah.
I'll throw those right in there, man. And it's a wonderful thing. It is a wonderful product. I also like, and I'm going to swing back to this from a couple standpoints. Now, Shimmy Alcott helps you design it and is specific about women, or designing a pair for women, and being that she's a woman, she would know,
Yeah.
and a professional skier. Now, this has a couple things. Number one, body types are different. Women and men are different. Secondly, from a retail standpoint, we talked about this with Maria Baker from Nobody's Princess down there in Australia. And we got into the retail end of it, that, women's clothes, myself being in retail, all the Ski Rex Media fans know I came out of retail logistics. We know that women's clothes aren't always, or, in apparel in general, aren't always up to snuff. There's all kinds of crazy different sizes going on. It's not like me. 32 inches, that's what it is. Oh, I wish I was still 32, but I am in length, so there you go. I didn't get any shorter.
You identify as 32 inches, don't
I
you?
identify as 32, but the label definitely does not. And for whoever's in the metric world, you do the math on that. I forget how to do the math. I actually do know it, but it's whatever. Anyway, no, jokes aside, it's a wonderful thing when people, some people say, do women really need for something like this a different product? And the answer is yes, usually all the time. Again, women are built different. Anatomically, we are different.
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes. So was that when she brought it up? And again, you're all still kind of new to this, only a few years in, which is also impressive. But do you think you would have gotten there on your own, or was it just because she came in on it, if that makes sense?
Yeah, that's there's some quite funny little stories around that. So,
Sure.
I approach this whole thing as a guy. guy centric.
Okay.
It's like, hey, we're going to do these really cool leggings, and they're going to have panels, and they're going to have bracing, and they're going to be awesome. And and interesting enough, a friend of mine who was at that when I was at where I went to college and I did this three-dimensional design degree.
Sure.
One of the courses was fashion. Well,
Okay.
fashion being fashion, it's mainly girls, and we've stayed in touch over the years. Well, interestingly enough, the fashion team, the fashion people particularly, they went off and all over the world. I mean, Tokyo, Milan, Paris, the States, and everybody worked at the coalface for a good few years. But they've all moved on. They're kind of into PR and that sort of things now. But I got in touch with one of them who, funny enough, moved. Her and her husband moved back from London several years ago, so they're just down the road, and she's the one that we went for a dog walk to sort of thrash this idea out. But anyway, what we did end up doing was having a little focus group of herself and three women friends.
Sure.
And what was really, really funny is that, they were advising and they were talking about, and we were talking about things like shape and, because it's tough, and guys, I mean, I look at, the woman I know is my wife, and I go, okay, well, I guess that's what women are like,
Sure.
but yeah, it's a tough one. But what was interesting is I can remember we got I think it was a second prototype. We got it printed up and everything, and we're having this. And I know I got some T-shirts done as well. I remember that, yeah. And we were having this Zoom call, and I'm holding them up, and the girls are going, and I'm going, yeah, look at this, and we're going to have this graphic down the legs, and they all kind of had this sort of poker face, and I'm thinking, well, I'm not getting a reaction here. I've got my red nose on, and I'm in there, and
Nice.
and finally, one of them, she sort of tentatively raised her hand and said, Geoff, is that going to be the graphics on all of them? I'm like, yeah, isn't it great? Yeah, well, probably not for women. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? Well,
Yeah.
for a start, women don't necessarily like to have a great big logo down the leg, maybe something a little more subtle. And she said, and I can tell you that T-shirt probably won't work for women. I'm going, well, why not? She said, well, right across your frontage having "Embrace Me." Come on, It's like,
It's a good
okay.
point.
Yeah,
It's an interesting point.
But it's funny that because I didn't, I would have never sort of, I'm just going, yeah, it's cool, isn't it? It's great, and and you just need that someone to sort of pull you back and go, hang on a minute, So what was really, really interesting with Shemi is we approached the snow legging from a female's standpoint.
Sure.
And then we actually then took that product and said, okay, how do we modify it to work for men? And so often it's the other way around, and you find that so often, I think, with product that, oh, well, yeah, this is great. We'll make some jeans. Oh, gosh, yeah, now we've got to make a cut for the ladies because obviously the ladies are going to want it as well. But this was very, very much, this was very different. Everything was about the high waist was about as Shemi would say, postpartum, a core engagement. And it was very, very much aimed at a woman's needs. It's like the pocket over the abdomen. Why? Because these are things that guys don't even they're off our radar.
Totally.
And it was a really, really interesting process because it's a process I've never approached anything like that before. But to have Shemi driving it and me coming back saying, what do you think? And she, well, try it on. I go, okay, well, yeah, you're getting there, Geoff. We need to change this or tweak that. I mean, luckily, Julie and Shemi, they gelled, so that worked out real well. But yeah, it's been fascinating. So, I think it's fair to say that the product is very much a women's product, which we then went, okay, hang on a minute. This is pretty cool. This will work for men as well. And ultimately, men do not have a pocket over the abdomen, and it's got to fly. And that's the difference. And of course, it's a different cut. I mean, before I started this, I just figured, well, the cut of the fabric, that suits everybody. Wrong answer, Geoff. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. We are very, very different shapes. So
we really are. And that's a
Yeah,
thing we've seen in retail, like I said, for years and years and years. You start to learn this stuff. And at first, you have a few people, like it was presented to me back in my retail days at first as a feminist joke, like someone was making a joke. A woman, by the way. I'm not a
yeah,
misogynist anyway, but anyway, jokes aside. No, we were talking about, but then we really got into it, because there I am. I'm dealing with this stuff. I have it in my hand. And they're
yeah,
telling me all this, and then from one company to the next, and there's just nothing. And I was like, that makes sense. That's a real thing. People are different, and we know that because we have different sizes of everything from short
yes,
and tall, big and small, whatever it is, shoes, wide, narrow, all the way up and down the body. Hat. I'm wearing a hat right now, and it's almost completely out because I got a big old fat head. Like, I mean, kidding aside, it's a thing. It really is. And that's kind of brilliant that you embraced all that. It really is fascinating, the tech end of this. It's because it's this blend of technology, it's this blend of fashion. It's actually just really cool. Like, I know we're trying to stick to the snow sports part and the leggings part, but just for me personally, the whole thing is cool, dude. Like, I think it's a great thing that you've done here, and it just sounds like the whole process has been a lot of fun,
no, it
cool,
has. Yeah,
uh,
it
and
has.
everything. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's
That's
been well. Like I say, I mean, probably the most important thing is that my enthusiasm for what we're doing. I mean, what's great about it is as well is that we're developing products all the time, and I know they help people, and that feels good. You know that,
sure.
and that I've got that spark on Monday morning again, and frankly, I wake up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Heck, my mind's just bang, it's on. And
Yep.
quite often I wake up and get on with it. So, I have people going, "Hey, there's something wrong with with the clock on your computer. It says you sent this email at 3:42 in the morning." I go, "Yes, I did."
Most certainly did. Absolutely. Sleep with that notebook next to your bed, friends.
Yeah,
You never know
yeah.
when you might need it, man.
You
That's
never know
awesome.
when an idea is going to come.
Absolutely. So, since you brought it up, how you're designing other products as well, keep
Yeah,
it going. Right now you only have a handful. But you got more going on. So let's talk about the other ones that you have. You got the Snow Sports, the Dynamic Plus, compression socks. I believe you have a whole
that's right.
lineup that you can almost build yourself a complete system if you wanted to. Is that
Yeah, no,
correct?
I think that's right. I think that's where we're going. Yeah, interesting enough. So we started out, like I say, in October 22 with what we call dynamic, and I look at that legging now, and it's pretty simple.
Sure.
It works. It worked great, but we've got an expression over here. It's a little bit Marmite, and Marmite is a spread that you put on toast, and you either love it or hate it. Uh, and anybody that's tried it there in the States will know exactly what I mean.
Oh, yes.
You're either in one camp or the other. There is no gray area here.
There is
Anyway,
no gray area with that
no,
stuff.
and and we and I'm a real believer in listening to people that use the product. So we did real well that first year, got a lot of product out there, and a proportion of people came back and said, they're great, they work. I see what you're trying to achieve here, but they're a little uncomfortable behind the knee, or
Sure.
because, and that was a big deal. So when we were developing the ski legging, it was okay. Well, how are we going to get that bulk out from behind the knee? Because skiing, it's all about bending the knee. It's all about the squat and the turn, and you need to feel you need to feel comfortable. So yeah, we've the big milestone really was the ski legging, and that was a stretch technically for
Sure.
us. Which I think we achieved in record time. I mean, literally from conversation to physically receiving product was less than 8 months.
Wow.
And what's been interesting is that we've had feedback on the dynamic, we had feedback on the ski legging, and we realized that we could develop what I call a multi-sport legging,
Sure.
by taking the best of the original dynamic and what we learned on the ski legging and putting that into the new legging, which we call Dynamic Plus, which interestingly we are launching this coming weekend at the National Running Show here in the UK, because
Excellent.
we call it a multi-sport legging, but it is. I think we're going to kind of slowly roll it out to different sectors. So we're looking right now and going, well, over here everybody's starting to train for the London Marathon. Hey,
Sure.
it's a big deal when you're training for a marathon. It's a lot of months of hard work, and of course, people are going out right now, and it's cold in the mornings. I mean, hats off to anybody that's training for a marathon right now, because it is miserable some mornings out there. But
Oh, yeah.
they roll out, they put their kit on, and if it's raining, they put their hood up and they go do it. So
They do, man.
respect. But
Totally.
what's interesting is that you're putting all this time and effort into reaching that goal of being able to run that marathon in April, and not getting injured is really important. Avoiding injury is so important. So we see this product, this new Dynamic Plus. Like I say, it's an interesting product. It's not as technical as the ski legging, but it has a lot of technical aspects. It's got a very, very similar panel layout to the ski leggings. So we look after all the same joints in a very, very similar way. The women's has a high soft waist in this case, but it contains the heat pad pockets, so for comfort and looking after your muscles and things. It's longer, obviously, because it ends at the ankle, but it's also and we've done all the obvious things, like we've got printing on the rear of the ankle, which is reflective, so people can see you when you're running, because hey,
cool.
if you roll out, you're out there at 7 o'clock in the morning, you're waiting for the sun to come up, aren't you?
Yeah, I didn't even notice that. See?
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go. You see? Yeah.
That's why Jeff's here.
Yeah, that's right. Talk to the founder and he'll tell you all kinds of stuff you didn't know. But and then the men's, like I say, we've got this. We use. It's kind of interesting. What one thing I have noticed, and one thing that we did on the original legging, is that our cut for men was on the waist. It was very much kind of as you would have with pants or trousers.
Sure.
And the problem that gives you is that you have a slippage problem. And how do you deal with that? And yeah, you can put a tie waist in there and all that stuff, and it kind of works. But then again, we kind of went back to basics, and we looked at anatomy and said, okay, hang on here. How can we make sure we can keep this waist up? And we did the obvious things. We incorporated an elasticated waistband with a tie, so that's all the obvious stuff. But what we realized is that this is great, because we've all got one, or two actually. We got a thing called the iliac crest on our pelvis, and if you feel the top of your pelvis, you feel right there on your hips is you can feel this crest, that piece of bone.
Yeah.
And so what we've done is we've extended the waist up about 2 inches, so that it means when you've got the leggings on properly and they're all the way up, and you then tie off, what you're able to do is you're able to get them up and over that little ledge, and actually that acts as a stop to keep them from slipping down. Seems simple, I feel pretty clever. We worked that out. I mean, I'm sure somebody else is going, oh gosh, Geoff, somebody did that years ago. But hey, it works. And the other thing that we've done, which is unique in our products for men, is that we have a fly. So you look at most other legging brands, and they are the front panel is solid, but we're looking at this product as we are with the ski legging, but we're looking at this product as an undergarment, as a base layer. And if you're wearing it for golf, or you're out there hiking, the last thing you want to be doing if you need a quick wee is to stand there and have to sort of basically undress.
Totally.
So they're basically they're like a long john now. So yeah, I think it's going to be a great product. I think it will be well received.
I think so. I've already had questions. I did a little intro video for those who follow SkiRex Media on social media about them. I was wearing them completely out, which, hey, Shemi's doing it on the website. I can do it too.
Yeah, you can.
But it is wonderful. I love wearing them under my pants as another layer 100%. I don't stand up to the cold as well as I once did, and it's nice to have that other layer in there. And in fact, last night was, gosh, I think our high was below freezing, several
Wow.
degrees below, even like 10 or 12 degrees
Oh
below.
my
That was
goodness.
our high midday. Um, so I actually had the Dynamic plus another base layer on that, plus my regular ski gear to handle that. Being a
Yeah.
lifty, I'm outside a lot,
Yeah.
and it worked out
Yeah.
fantastically. You're right. Having the fly is a huge help. It's a wonderful thing. They're great for that. And I do want to circle back around the difference between the Dynamic Plus and the Snow Sports. The difference I like is the boot cut. The Snow Sports doesn't go, it just sits right on the top of the boot, which comes in handy for so many things. It takes the bulk out of the boot, and then you don't have to, my outer ski pants, they do have the inner material to go over the boot to keep everything out of it,
Yeah.
which is great. I don't want anything in it.
No.
And these don't, because they also don't go over the boot, don't add that extra bulk there either. It's just a really nice fitting pair of pants, a pair of leggings designed for the sport.
Yeah, very
Um,
much so. That's you're absolutely right. Total focus was saying these are for snow sport, not for anything else. I mean, we've had offshoots. I mean, funny enough. I mean, we've had the mountain biking communities jumped on them big time.
oh,
But
nice.
they are all about snow sport, all about snow
Mhm.
sport. You mentioned boot cut. Well, that's, I mean, Shemi was really funny. She said she uses the term, she said, oh, it's a real ick for me, which is her technical term for saying it's something I don't like. But it's a real ick to have things in my boot. She said all about boot feel. And which actually, funny enough, brings me on to our compression sock.
Sure.
Nice little intro there. But
I like it.
yeah, the compression sock, it's not it the great thing is that what we all need to remember is that we've got these two enormous muscles at the bottom of our leg, our calf muscles, and those
Yep.
muscles are really, really an interesting pair of muscles. Big in terms of helping shuffle blood around our body, even though they just
Sure.
seem benign. They just seem to sit down there and occasionally get a cramp in them if we don't feed them properly or water them. But
That's
but
true.
they're pretty awesome muscle, and we uh, we decided that it would be cool to come up with a compression legging. A compression sock, which would then mean that we're basically giving you compression from the bottom of your leg right up to your belly button.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and interesting enough, we talked an awful lot to an awful lot of different people, but I suppose more importantly to the people that like Shemi, that was okay. We could go with a sock and have lots of panels on it, that stop the rubbing and all this stuff, which is great, if you're a recreational skier, and that's fine. But we settled on this compression sock with pretty minimal panels, in terms of additional protection, because it's all about that boot feel, that shin on the front of the boot. Um,
Yeah.
and they're great. I mean, they've gone down extremely well. We had a lot of conversations with them last week when we did a show, and yeah, they're fantastic. And I mean, very reasonably priced. They are. I mean, they've got a really nice footbed on them, and then if you turn them inside out, you can see. You can actually see where the compression and the panels work, and they're great.
Totally.
I mean, a lot of people suffer. Especially after a day where you're really pushing it. A lot of people get cramp and things in the lower leg, and these certainly seem to help. The other thing, which is a big deal for us, is that we've made them really, really long. So
Mhm.
when I put them on, and I hasten to add, I haven't been lucky enough to go skiing yet this season, but we're
Bummer.
gonna put that right in February, I hope. But
Very good.
what's really interesting is that I tend to pull them up, and I tend to pull them up over my knee. That's how long they are, and
Oh,
then I bring my
wow.
legging up and over them. so that, that so there's no chance when you're really turning hard and everything, because there'd be nothing, to me, there's nothing more annoying than, under your salopettes, and suddenly you've got 2 inches of skin showing between the bottom of the legging and the top of the boot because you're moving around. So that the compression sock actually bridges that.
Sure.
Yeah, they're really nice. And coming back to what you're saying about a system now. So, if you're skiing, you ski the day and you've got your leggings on. Actually, something else I forgot to mention, which is really cool in the leggings. We've not only talking about the panel technology and things, but we've also got some really neat fabric technology in there.
Sure.
We've got a polymer. So when the fabric is made at the mill, because nothing is off the shelf on these, so
Sure.
it's not like we can go out and say, yeah, we'll have a roll of fabric of that one, please.
Okay.
When they make the fabric in the mill, they incorporate a polymer into that fabric called HeyQ Smart Temp, and it actually helps to regulate your skin temperature. And what we're trying to achieve with that is, so it's a little bit like, in Terminator, when he gets shot and he kind of reforms. Well,
sure,
it's kind of a similar concept with this treatment. Is as your skin temperature warms up when you're skiing and working out, it actually slightly opens the weave in the fabric to allow you to actually breathe. So it's more than wicking; it's breathing.
Sure.
And then as you get to the bottom of the slope and you kind of cool down, you get back in the lift line and get back on the chair, it actually closes up. And what I think what we're trying to help achieve is to sort of keep you in a temperature band, so you don't get those big highs and those lows. Just try to hold you in a temperature band. Now,
sure,
how effective is that? It's probably early days at the moment, but what is interesting is that we know from the company's testing that it actually, when you heat up, it actually it can drop your skin temperature by 4 degrees C, which is substantial,
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, of course, closing up looks after you. And we've also, with the same company, we use an anti-back on them as well. So, and interesting enough, I have tested that. I used them for mountain biking. I was training with a friend who went off to do a charity bike ride in the Atlas Mountains in Morocco. And so I was wearing them, and you can get about 8 days out of them before you put them on and go, gosh, who smells bad around here? And then you realize it's you. So,
nice, so love it.
So it means when you're on your ski trip or ski holiday, if you're there for a week, you don't necessarily have to wash them. You can get away with it.
Sure.
But coming back to the system, sorry, I digressed there a little bit. But
yeah, no, that's cool, man.
The system kind of what we've got now is leggings, two distinct leggings, and actually you could argue that we've got the dynamic as well, and then the socks. So you go out and you ski all day, and you hit the mountain hard in your ski legging, in your snow legging as we call it. Then you finish and you come in and you obviously take them off and you hang them up to air dry, jump in the shower and freshen up. And then what is really a good idea now, whether you use our leggings or another compression legging, but it's a great idea then to put compression back on. So we'd advocate using the Dynamic or the Dynamic Plus, and put that on and wear that up until bedtime, because by maintaining compression, it just helps you recover. It's all about recovery. And it's an interesting one. I've talked to so many people, and I get so many kind of analogies and answers. But I had a really interesting talk with a physio, and this one kind of struck a chord. And again, I'm not scientifically trained, but this one kind of made sense to me. And she said, well, when you're in the gym and you're trying to bulk up, so you're working out and you finish your session and you go home and you do your recovery, and the next within a couple of hours you start to feel achy. And she said that's down to those little micro tears. And what you want is your body to obviously build a bridge to bridge those tears, and that then builds your muscle. That because the muscle grows as a result. But what she said is when you're trying to recover, and this is where I'm probably going to get myself in trouble by suggesting this, but she said, when you're trying to recover, she said, if you compress that, your body's not saying, well, I got to build a bridge here.
Hmm.
So your body's not putting the effort into actually building muscle. It's just going, okay, well, let's make an effort here to just sort of flush things through. And so I mean, I did a 26 mile during the summer. I did a 26-mile up and down mountain bike ride, and we're close to what we call the edge of the escarpment here. So most of it was off road, and I got to
Sure.
say, when I got home, I was in bad shape. I was done in,
I can
and my
imagine.
wife kind of looked me up and down. It was like, oh gosh, what have you done to yourself? So I thought, you know what, I'm going to practice what I preach here. So I
Yeah.
went and I took them off. I hung them up, and I had my shower, and then I put my compression legging on, which funny enough, I used the original dynamic legging,
Nice.
and I wore them up to bedtime. Now, some people, I know someone that wears skins all the way through the night, as she was saying that she just
Okay.
wears them. She's a big mountain biker, and they go to the mountains and things. They literally go to the Alps, and for a couple of weeks. She said, I wear them at night. Now, whether that's good, bad, or indifferent, it's up to the individual. But what I did find is I warm up to bedtime, and the next day when I got up, I kid you not, I mean, I couldn't have done another 26 miles. I don't think my backside would have taken that. But
I can imagine.
what was really interesting is that I felt like I'd recovered enough to, certainly I could have done another 10-mile ride easy. And
Nice.
that's really interesting. It's just trying these things for yourself. Um,
That's awesome.
because skiing, especially if you live somewhere where you're not close to the mountains, I mean, that's a big deal going on that vacation or that holiday. And
Yeah.
you arrive and you just want to maximize your time on the slopes. And there's nothing more frustrating than kind of getting to midweek and going, oh man, I'm sore, I'm tight. Everything kind of feels blah, and you take a day off. And what do you do in your day off? You go down and have a cup of coffee and a nice cake somewhere, and you watch people, and then you maybe go for a bite of lunch, and you feel like you're just missing out. You're not out
Yeah.
there, and
Totally,
um,
man.
and I think the products, I should say, are really really good for reducing that fatigue, so you don't get that down day.
Yeah.
And if you just looked at the product and said, hey, these ski leggings, yeah, they are. Certainly, they're not on a. Certainly they're a little bit expensive when you compare them to a standard pair of leggings. But if they mean that you're going to ski your whole week and not have
Yeah.
downtime, then hey, they're well worth it. Well worth it.
Absolutely. Absolutely well worth it. And since we're talking about how worth it they are, let's try and sell some for you here. Let's see if we can sell a few. Which isn't just a sales thing, it is a logistics thing as well. Now, I did name drop Kimberly Kay, author and illustrator of Ski A to Z, friend of Ski Rex Media. She's been on the program many times. I love Kim. She loves us, or me, actually. I'm a one-man show here. She loves Ski Rex Media too. She has a pair, but she lives in England. She is English. But I also have the Dynamic Plus and the snow leggings. I live in the US, so that's two countries. How excuse me, how international can we go?
Okay. Well, I mean, first off, what I'd say is, we're a small brand. Uh, we've actually launched with a certain number of pairs, but what's been really fascinating for us is that we obviously put the product out there. We've got what I think is a pretty good website.
Yep.
We do a lot on Facebook, stroke Meta, in terms of putting the word out. And what was interesting is that within a really short time of launching the product, we were getting a lot of traffic from the States into our website. And
Sure.
it was like, wow, what's happening there? I mean, we were
Hmm.
having days where, we were almost at 50-50. And
Very
I mean, for
good.
me, that was like, oh my gosh, we got to figure out how we can look after someone that buys from the US. Now, we've all got, you talk to anybody about buying internationally, and we all kind of, it's a big deal. It's like, oh man, I really don't want to do that. Uh, we've all got this perception that there's you've got border controls, you've got taxes, you've got duty, is it going to get here? Because, hey, legislation in the UK differs to the States if I don't receive a product and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had the same thing. I've seen really cool stuff from the States and gone, gosh, I'd really like to buy that, but I don't think I will because, I don't know what, how am I going to return it if I have a problem, or how am I going to exchange it? And the problem is that so often you drop them a line, they say, well, what we don't do is we don't accept returns. You go, well, gee, hang on a minute. How am I supposed to make that work? I mean, and with something like Imbrace, that's a technical product. If I receive that product and I go, gosh darn it, I should have ordered a medium rather than a large. So in a nutshell, we are currently, and I suspect this time next year, we will be fulfilling out of the US. But at the moment, we fulfill here in the UK. And what we've done is to make life easy for someone buying from the States is a couple of things we put in place. First and foremost, we guarantee that you will not pay duty on that product. And basically, we've set up a scheme that makes sure that if for any reason there are any charges at the border coming into you, that we cover those. So that's a hard guarantee. Okay.
Nice.
The other thing we've done is we've looked at the cost of using someone like FedEx in the States. Mm-hmm. So say you're shipping from the East Coast to the West, we've gone, okay, well, obviously shipping from the UK into the US or Canada is considerably higher. But what we've done is we've matched that cost. So we're subsidizing the cost of sending via FedEx. Mm-hmm. So that's, you can literally have the product in 3 to 4 days. So you can order from the UK and that product will arrive with you in 3 to 4 days, fully tracked through FedEx, which of course is a well-known courier. Totally. On top of that, if you're not in a rush to get them, we're also sending via Royal Mail, and that is a free service. So you can get your leggings. Cool. Takes about 10 days, but you can get your leggings postage free. So we think that that's attractive. And I know that's not going to be for everybody because there's still going to be that nervousness about, oh man, I really don't feel comfortable ordering something from from a foreign country. But we've done our best to sort of make people feel comfortable with the process. And then when it comes to returns and exchanges, what we've done is we've set up a little hub in Kansas City, which you can, if you need to exchange or return, you can send them to a U.S. address. Awesome. So you can send to the U.S. address. We obviously liaise with the customer. Actually, I liaise with the customer because it's me. We liaise and they'll go, gosh, Geoff, unfortunately, they're not quite the right size. I'd like to exchange them. No problem at all. And it's super simple. We just say, we always advise that you send them tracked so that when we've received them. Because I don't know about you, but the Postal Service can be a little iffy at times. It's not great here and sometimes probably not great there. But, if you send tracked, then all I ask is that as soon as you send it, just send me your tracking number. And then then we don't wait around, and I will then dispatch that exchange product to you that day. So excellent. So we try and keep the whole thing seamless. We try and make, and if you can wait 10 days, fine, I'll send it by the post. But hey, if you need that product because you're going skiing next week, we'll get it to you. We will get it to you.
Amazing. Amazing. The 21st century where local and global markets are the same thing. It's amazing. I know, it's
crazy, awesome. Isn't it? Absolutely crazy.
It's amazing. Like so many things that you can now just, it really is just, it's not like, I heard about this from Japan. I wonder how I can get it. Just go get it. I heard about this from England. Go get it.
Push the button. Just do it.
Just push the button. Yeah. And that button, for those who need to know, is imbrace.com. IMBRACE.com. Very easy. The website, as you said, is very good, very simple. I keep eyeing over here watching the demo video on the homepage. It's very nice, very easy navigation. Everything's there for you. Everything Geoff said with photos. excuse me, with photos, all the links to social media, everything you can need, all the shipping information, everything. imbrace.com. So there you go. And I'm going to help you out because Geoff helped me out. Put in there the code SKIREX10. You get 10% more off. How cool is that? I love it. Geoff is one of the first. He's not the first person to give me a code, but this one is probably the biggest to give me a code for global recognition. So that's very cool. So SkiRex Media listeners, SKIREX10, SkiRex10. That is it, right? I'm not wrong about that.
No, you're not right. I'm listening very carefully to make sure you don't make a mistake, and you've got that, Tim.
I'm telling you, man. So we were setting this up. Geoff and I were talking about it, and I thought it was so funny because he says to me, I have to give it off to the marketing people to make sure they get it done right. I was like, he's like, that might take a day or two. I was like, that's awesome because it's going to take me at least a day or two to make sure I get it right on my website. And I screwed it up. I might have to call in one of my coder friends to figure out where I screwed up the code. So there you go. There's a little fun behind the scenes story about the SkiRex 10. But SkiRex 10, 10% off, Imbrace leggings, which I love. That's an endorsement from me straight up. I enjoy wearing the snow sport legging. Felt great. It's just wonderful on the knees. They fit nice. They fit, again, the boot cut, awesome. The Dynamic Plus, I've only gotten to try those once from when they got here versus my schedule. I threw them on and went and worked lifts on them because I am moving around. I am on my feet. So why not work in them too, man? It's a wonderful thing, although I can't wait. Again, hiking season's going to be here sooner than we know. I'll be out on the trail, on the basketball court, whatever it is. I'll be wearing them all the time. It's going to be great. That anti-bac is going to come in handy. And antibacterial comes in handy for skiers anyway, because really, when do we wash our jackets and pants anyway? I don't know if that's just an American thing. I don't know if that's what you guys over there do too, but we're disgusting people, but we're awesome. Geoff, man, anything that I missed? Oh, tell them about the award from the show the other day.
Oh
Please.
gosh, yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah. So we did a show last week called Slide, and it's put on by SIGB, the Ski Snow Sport Industries of Great Britain, okay. First time we've ever gone to that show because everybody said, hey, you got a ski product, you need to go. So we rocked up thinking it was just going to kind of be a little a little group of people just talking about skiing and their product. Well, it turns out that it was a massive exhibition hall full of awesome stands and big brands. Yeah. Anyway, we entered our product as a new brand and sure. A new product, and the journalists and the retailers who attended were the people that voted, and I'm really flattered to say that the snow sport legging was voted the best new brand by retailers and journalists. So awesome. We won this really cool award, little piece of glass that just felt when I walked up and picked it up, it just felt like, hey, it's all been worth it. We've got recognition. And what was really, really cool was the next day, we had some big brands coming over and saying, awesome work. Well done, guys. That's a really cool product you've got there. So yeah, it kind of feels like we arrived.
I think so. And when you have the big guys saying, yeah, that's a really cool product, that's jealousy. That's, wait a minute, why didn't we get there first? You may be big, but you're not always on the forefront, my friends. Always look to the smaller folks for the forefront. It's an interesting idea. I forget who I was talking to about it recently, but sure, the corporate thing is great, but the smaller ones, they're on the forefront. They know what's coming. They know what's going on out there, and they're going to get you the new stuff. Awesome. So, and before I let you go, you are just on the website right now, not brick and mortar yet, but maybe.
No, but funny enough, we had some really, really good feedback. it looks like we're going to be certainly here in the UK. We're going to have a couple of shops that'll be taking the product, and literally in the next week or two. We've actually got a really great one retailer that's already got them in, called Ski Exchange up in Cambridge, and they love them.
Cool.
Um, we're also doing the same with the dynamic legging. That's obviously going to be more aimed at runners, but we're planning, all being well, we will be in a shop near you within the next year to 18 months.
Cool.
Working really hard on that, looking for distribution channels or agents to take us on and get the product out there so more people can touch and feel and try and buy, because
Absolutely
it's an
awesome.
awesome piece of kit. And you know, uh, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and have a have a big sales pitch, but
Mhm.
honestly, if you're looking to reduce your fatigue and reduce knee pain and just overall discomfort as a result of exercising, give us a try. It's a great product.
Absolutely. It is a great product. I was very happy when you reached out to me and said, "Hey, you want to try this?" I'm like, "Sure." I don't get to do that every day, to try and review. And I can only imagine that, gee, you get it, and then you're gonna be like, "God, what if it sucks? Like, what if it's bad?" Now you have to say it's bad because you're working with this person, and Geoff is so nice and so helpful and everything. And but the second I put them on, I was like, "This is awesome." I was a little late on it. Let's go back and knock on the postal service a little bit more,
Yeah.
but that's okay. That's okay. But it's a wonderful product. I can't stress enough how much I enjoy wearing them. It's not just because Geoff is here looking at me that I'm saying that. It's because I truly enjoy them. I love them, and I'm going to keep using them until they fall apart, and then I'll use more.
You know
Um,
what, Jim? When they fall apart, we'll repair them.
and
We That's been something we've been working really hard on, because I know that. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there, but I
no,
know
by
that
all
with,
means.
particularly with the ski legging, you've got that Velcro, and Velcro over time wears out. Well, we've actually set up a company that we can send them to, and they'll replace the Velcro. So, we've currently got a 2-year guarantee on this product, and as time goes on, I feel confident that the quality is there, and they will last you a lot of years. As a matter of
Yeah,
fact, I don't make a big thing about it, but I'm a real believer that our product is all about quality, it's all about function, and it's all about well-being.
absolutely. See, that's great, man. Look at that. You can beat the heck out of him, and Geoff will fix it for you.
Yeah.
Not personally, I'm sure. Lord knows if you put a needle and thread in my hand, it's just going to be a trip to the hospital. It's fantastic. One last thing before you go, man. Do you want to get out any shows that are coming up for the spring? Are you going to make it back to the snow shows next year? Are you going to make it to one of our shows?
Yeah,
Snowbound
that's
Expo, Outdoor Retailer,
yeah.
Snowvana.
Do you know what, Tim? We're currently looking at our schedules right now. I mean, to be absolutely blunt, we are out looking for some investment in the business to
Sure.
help us be a you know to help us grab those opportunities that they arise. But as it stands right now, we're launching the Dynamic Plus at the National Running Show this coming weekend. We're then scheduled to attend the London Marathon Running Show, which
Cool.
is in April. Um, and then we're looking ahead at some of the US shows, because we'd love to find a way to get out there and talk to people to get the product out there. But yeah,
Awesome.
we're already scheduled to do the snow show in London 2024,
Nice.
and who knows, you just might see us in Boston.
Awesome. And I would love it. I would love it. I
Yeah.
will be there as well in 2024. I will actually be at the Boston Running Show, also by
Oh, of
Raccoon
course,
Media.
that's right. They do the running show as well. Hey,
Yep.
well, we need to figure out how to get there.
Actually, will I be at the running show? No, I'm going to be at the other one, the outdoor expo that they do. That's where I'm going to
Okay.
be.
Yeah.
I'm going to be somewhere. I don't know. But as soon as Geoff hits the beach here at in Boston, I will be there to welcome him as best as I can be down at Snowbound. We love those guys. They love us, and we love Geoff. Keep an eye out at your local exhibitions, and these things are a lot of fun. I always suggest go check it out, especially if you are really passionate about your sport. If there's an expo, go. It's a lot of fun. Big big social experience as well as retail experience and trade show. Definitely take your throat lozenges and hard candies. By Sunday for Snowbound, I had no voice. I didn't even go on Sunday because I couldn't talk. And, most of my job is most of my life is talking. It's awful. My friends were very happy I couldn't talk for a day or two. So, but that's whatever. Geoff Hanson, sir, thank you very much for coming on the program, talking about the Imbrace leggings. They're very awesome. I might pick your brain about some other things after we get off the call. But once again, thank you for being on here.
Well, thank you very much, Tim. Really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure. Really good fun.
Oh, absolutely, dude! I loved it. It was great. I'm gonna let Geoff go, and I'll come back in 1 second after I do that. Thank you, sir, once again.
Cheers, all. Nice to talk to you.
Absolutely. And there he goes, Geoff Hanson, founder of Imbrace and the Imbrace Snow Sports Legging and the Imbrace Dynamic Legging and the Dynamic Plus Legging, which I also have and enjoy it very much. I enjoy their products so much that, like we said during this, Geoff has been so kind to let me get in and have my own code to try and get you all a discount. So here's how it works. Ski Rex Media fans, listeners, social media fans even, you can use the code at Imbrace.com, SkiRex10. Get you 10% off. It's that easy. SkiRex10, you put that in when you go to buy your leggings and you get 10% off, man. It's just that easy. You can find a link to that in the description as well. You can click on it, that'll give you the code, or you can just put it in yourself, SkiRex10. Do that, and you will have a set of leggings for yourself to enjoy. Also, we're going to talk to more people about this because of how much we enjoy them. We might have our good friend Kim K back on. I've been talking to her. We're going to find out if she wants to come back or can come back. She's also a very busy lady. She has things to do. And we both mentioned, Geoff especially, mentioned that he worked with Shemi Alcott from the British ski team. He worked with her to help design these leggings. Get a little women's input in there. And she's going to come on the podcast, and we're going to end up talking to her about the leggings, and I'm sure we're going to end up talking about, Olympic class skiing, and we'll probably just talk about ski bum skiing too. Who knows? You never know who could show up on the old Ski Rex Media podcast, and goodness knows you never know what we might talk about. It usually descends into, Geoff and I actually stayed on topic pretty well. It didn't descend into just, hey, where do you ski kind of conversations, which it has in the past. So stay tuned for all of those. Next week, also Steve Harding from Tamagupog Camp, up there by King Pine, a place I love. I think I butchered how to say it. Tokumupog, I think is how you say it. He's the director of the ski camp up there. He's the director of all the camps up there. But we're going to talk about the ski camp next week. We're going to talk about King Pine next week. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff next week with a brand new episode. You never know who could show up after that. It might be a couple more solo episodes. You never know. You never know where I could show up. Right. Anyway, this episode is running long, so you don't need me to make it run any longer, my friends. Again, subscribe. Follow everywhere you want. Subscribe everywhere you want. Dip into the Patreon if you want. Dip into the merch shop if you want, and I will see you out there on the hills, my friends. Later.